Hey guys, this is What If Naruto Had Paper Release Part 8, the finale of the series. But before we get into the video, a couple quick announcements. One, go watch some of Quadx's videos. He makes What Ifs, they're pretty good. I've watched a couple. And then two, next week I will be trying to post, or I plan to post, What If Naruto Was Trained by Tobirama, the Part 2 of that series. So, just to let you guys know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, without further ado, roll the intro. Training under Danzo was brutal. After every day of training, Naruto would have to stumble back to his apartment, completely out of energy and exhausted. His body was covered in cuts. Naruto barely even had the energy to make dinner or shower. Just as when muscle fibers break, they grow back stronger, so too will we break you so that you can grow back stronger as well, Danzo had once said. And now Naruto was beginning to realize that he meant every word of it. Day after day, Naruto would work on running with weights, turning his entire body into paper and then reforming again someplace else as quickly as possible, and many other things. Then, as he was lying in bed, he would have to endure the mocking and snide voice of the Ninetales as he tried to fall asleep. Naruto remembered when he first met the Ninetales. It was just after he had collapsed from exhaustion during his training with Danzo. Flashback. Naruto blocked a kick from a root Anbu wearing a tiger mask. He then shifted his head to the right as a punch from a second Anbu wearing a frog mask sailed past his head from behind. He then dropped to the ground and performed a flawless leg sweep, knocking both of his root sparring partners off their feet. Faster, more precision, came Danzo's great gravelly voice, to which to Naruto sounded like he regularly gargled with gravel. But Naruto had learned the hard way that as soon as Danzo had said something, he best carry it out. So, heeding Danzo's words, Naruto pushed his body even faster, and made sure to strike with more precision in each of his punches and kicks. All of Naruto's spars were designed with some constraint for him. For example, the current spar he was in he was wearing chakra draining seals while fighting with only taijutsu. The purpose of this was to stimulate an actual fight, where he would be constantly using chakra. It was somewhat effective as Naruto could now feel his chakra pool increasing, and using chakra during the fight casually was getting easier. You're too rigid, loosen up, and use some ninjutsu, Danzo's voice called again. Naruto forced himself to relax as he jumped back to gain some distance from his two opponents. This is going to be difficult, Naruto thought. His chakra pool was almost empty thanks to the chakra draining seals. He quickly flashed through some hand seals and ended with the bird hand sign, then breathed in and exhaled a powerful gust of air while saying, "Wind release, great breakthrough." His parting partners were blown away, hitting the walls with a thud and landing on the floor. Naruto's vision then started getting dark, and he fell forward, unconscious before he hit the ground. Finally, Danzo murmured as he felt the faint traces of the Kyuubi's chakra escape Naruto. In Naruto's mind, Naruto's eyes snapped open. He was lying on his back in what appeared to be a massive labyrinth. The entire labyrinth looked to be comprised of different things. The only thing that seemed consistent was the fact that all the walls were insanely high and the floor was covered in about 4 inches of what appeared to be water. One passageway led to what appeared to be a sewer system. Another passageway led to what looked to be an underground tunnel, composed entirely of rock. Yet another passage looked like it led to an underground building. "Where am I?" Naruto spoke, to no one in particular. "You're in your mind, Baka," a deep voice growled. The voice came down from the passageway that led to this sewer-like place. "Great," Naruto said as he started to walk towards the corridor. "Just my luck. It's probably the Kyuubi." "Well, at least you're not stupid," it growled as it came into view. Naruto stopped a little ways away from the gate of the Kyuubi's cage. How comforting. The great Kyuubi, who couldn't stop himself from getting captured and sealed 3 times, says I'm not completely stupid. I feel so lucky, Naruto said, his voice so sarcastic that you could practically feel the sarcasm. The Kyuubi roared and threw itself at the gate, shaking the entire sewer system and giving Naruto a headache. Naruto's visage then twisted into a snarl, and the entire corridor of Naruto's mindscape therein rumbled and shook slightly. "Do that again, and I'll shrink your cage so small you won't be able to move," Naruto said quietly. "I did not expect to be able to control you or command you." "Of course. Who do you think you're talking to? You think you could ever dream of controlling me?" Kyuubi interrupted rudely. "Shut it!" Naruto barked out. "As I was saying, I don't expect to be able to control you, but I will not expect anything less than respect. You respect me, I respect you. That's it." "Like I respect you, worm," the Kyuubi growled, slamming into the wall. "Shame," Naruto said, bringing his hands together in the ram hand seal. "Because I didn't want to have to do this, but I guess I'll have to." Immediately after Naruto formed the ram hand seal, the Kyuubi's cage started shrinking. Soon, the cage was so small that the Kyuubi could barely move. "I'll leave you like this for however long it takes to curb your arrogance towards me," Naruto said, turning away and walking. Flashback end. Since then, Naruto's relationship with the Kyuubi hadn't changed. But it was more apprehensive of him and seemed slightly indifferent. It was odd to Naruto. However, Danzo had started Naruto on how to use the Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto's seal naturally siphoned off a minuscule amount of chakra from the Kyuubi. Well, normally the amount of Kyuubi chakra siphoned off in a day wouldn't be that much, but 13 years of stockpiled Kyuubi chakra was quite substantial. Still, Danzo said it was only enough until Naruto could convince the Kyuubi to get him to lend him its chakra. Currently, Naruto was waiting for his lesson with Danzo to start. There was only about 1.5 weeks left of the 1-month break before the finals of the tuning exam. Apparently, at the Foundation, or the Root Control Center, Danzo was preparing for the invasion. "Okay, you are going to be learning how to manipulate killing intent," Danzo said. He stood up and dropped his cane. He then began moving the golden braces and bandages covering his arm. "The only difference is that you'll be doing it while fighting me." Naruto's eyes went wide at two things. First was that Danzo would be his opponent, and second, that Danzo's arm was covered in Sharingan. They all closed after a couple seconds, but Naruto still got a glance at all of them. They all had 3 tomoe in each one of them. "Now stand and get ready. You will fight me every day until you collapse for the remaining time until you have left until the finals start. As you might know, the first people to be targeted by Orochimaru's forces will be who's in the Anbu Guard. You, however, will be completely hidden. You're good at stealth, so it's imperative that you are able to avoid all detection. Stay hidden unless you think Hiruzen is in dire need of help. But anyways, now, before we start, I will explain how to use killing intent. What you want to do is channel chakra to the center of your forehead, not your brain. That could damage your brain. Then, once you've concentrated chakra in your forehead, concentrate on your more negative emotions, like anger and rage, and imagine that you're mixing them into your chakra, gathered into your forehead, and simply send it out as a wave, or at an object in your line of sight. Naruto nodded and jumped away from Danzo. Danzo then breathed in, and as he breathed out, all the Sharingan on his arm snapped open. Time skip. Naruto was nervous and fidgety. Currently, he was hidden inside the roof of the Kage's booth. It was completely pitch black, and the space was really small. Naruto could barely even move. Something bad's gonna happen, Naruto thought, before he calmed himself down. You can do this. After what seemed like an eternity, an explosion occurred outside. Naruto waited for a few more minutes before he started leaking killing intent. He was trying to help Hiruzen, but he aimed the killing intent anywhere but Hiruzen at all the targets on the roof. He didn't know if it had done much, but if any help could be something. Naruto then continued to wait for a few more minutes before he started to feel jutsu being thrown outside. His brief explosion of killing intent, it seemed, had stopped the fighting just for a few moments. Showtime, Naruto thought, as he prepared to pop up the roof. But deciding to play it safe, he only stuck a tiny bit of his head out of the hole he made in the roof, staying just out of sight to see, but being able to see what was happening on the roof. What he saw almost broke his blank facade, and made him a noise. Orochimaru was looking tired and slightly scuffed, but was still standing in front of Hiruzen, who was on the floor of the roof. A pool of blood was forming around him. Orochimaru then said a few words before 4 people appeared beside him. Naruto didn't catch what the words were, but they appeared to be important. After they appeared, Orochimaru left. Only after Naruto was entirely sure that they were gone did he pop out of the roof, running over to Hiruzen. "Old man," Naruto murmured, trying to slow the stem of blood coming from Hiruzen's chest. Hiruzen was unconscious, but not dead yet. "The Medmen will take over from here," Danzo said, appearing behind Naruto, causing him to whip around. Danzo was standing right behind Naruto, with a group of Medmen and Anbu right behind him. Danzo was dressed differently than normal. He was wearing the standard Anbu Black Ops gear, with one of the sleeves missing to show his Sharingan arm, though all the eyes were closed. "You and I will go after Orochimaru. The rest of the Anbu, stay here and protect Hiruzen. Mednin, get him safe. Make sure to stabilize him quickly," Danzo said before walking to the edge of the roof. "Come on, Naruto, let's go." Naruto nodded, regretfully, taking one last look at Hiruzen before following. Time skip, 20 minutes. Naruto and Danzo caught up to Orochimaru and his bodyguards rather quickly. "Well, what do we have here?" Orochimaru chuckled. "A sick snake that needs to be put down," Naruto snarled. "Naruto," Danzo said, "take out the bodyguards, I'll take down Orochimaru." "Well, isn't this hilarious?" Orochimaru laughed. "We have an old man and a kid that thinks he's strong." Before Naruto could rush forward, a black swirl appeared behind Orochimaru and his bodyguards, sucking them in. Then, out of the swirl stepped a man wearing a swirl-shaped mask and a cloak with red clouds. "I thank you for stalling them long enough for me to dispose of them. Don't worry, they won't be coming back. But they're not your prime focus anymore. I am. My name is Madara Uchiha, and I've come for the Kyuubi." "You can drop the act," Danzo bit out. "Madara died a while ago." "Perhaps. But then again, if you don't believe me, you can just call me Toby. He'll be dead soon anyways," the now-named Toby spoke. "Setsu. Distract or dispose of Danzo, I don't really care. I'm getting my Kyuubi back." A black and white plant thing rose out of the ground. "Fine." "Wait," Danzo called. "You're part of the Akatsuki, why aren't you going after the other Jinchuriki as well?" Toby sighed before responding. "Well, my puppet head of the Akatsuki, Pain, was getting too risky, so I disposed of him and turned the Akatsuki members on each other. I do need the Biju, however, but once I have the Kyuubi, getting the other ones on my own will be a cinch." "Naruto," the Kyuubi growled from Naruto's mindscape. "You want my power? Take it, but kill this thing. I have a score to settle with him." "Well, enough talking. Let's go," Toby said before leaping at Naruto. Time skip, 30 minutes later. Naruto was missing an arm and looking down at Danzo's dying body. He'd been preparing to fight Obito, but quickly found that his help was unneeded. Danzo had quickly shown that he was not to be dismissed. He'd pushed Toby and the plant thing on the defensive and kept them there for most of the fight, until he had activated the reverse 4-point sealing and started to seal them both away. The plant thing, in desperation, had tried latching onto Naruto's arm to pull him in with it, but Naruto had quickly severed his arm so that Danzo could go on uninhibited. It was only after both Danzo and the plant thing had disappeared into the seal on Danzo's chest had Naruto finally relaxed, and then learned that the jutsu was self-sacrificing. "Naruto," Danzo rasped, "take my Sharingan arm." Hiruzen will survive, but people may try and take advantage of his weakened state. Keep him safe. He's a better Hokage than I could have ever been. Naruto nodded and stood silently as Danzo died. He may not have liked him, despised the man even, but he did agree with him on one thing. Hiruzen must stay safe for the future of the Leaf. Only if Hiruzen would stayed alive and safe did the Leaf have a bright future. But Naruto could see it, regardless of what happens, regardless of who Hiruzen chose as his successor. The will of fire would burn bright. Anyway guys, thanks for listening, have a great day, I'll see you guys later.